Okay, cool. Yeah, let it rip. And so, and just so if they don't, if you, what?
Go to security really quick,
Okay.
and then put allow participants.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. I lost my train of thought. Oh, but so Mike and Aaron, they're killing it. They're number one base shop in the Rudman hierarchy right now. And so, obviously they're number one in licensing. And Mike, how many licenses year to date do you guys have?
Year to date, we're well since I became licensing manager, we're sitting at 39, and I can show you that in my slides, which kind of to go through what I went through the other day on the RVP meeting compared to what we were doing this time last year. I have a few things that I think will be pretty impactful to show you guys. If let me see, I'm trying to figure out how to share my screen. I'm not great on Zoom yet, figuring that out, but let me know. Can you guys see this?
We can see it, Mike.
Perfect. All right. So you just want me to go ahead and take off, Mark?
Yeah, let her. And so future $1 million earner from the great state of Kansas. Give it up for the incredible Mike and Aaron.
Hey, thank you. So, hey, one thing I was thinking about before I even got on there was how cool this was, because so if you don't know, if some of you probably know, I know Janine kind of knows her story, but I just went full time with Aaron in February, and it was kind of funny because it was at the Marco Island event. And just so you know, at that event, I was talking to Aaron about this earlier. We were I actually remember seeing Mark and his family there, and we were those the Primerica fan club going, hey, there's Mark and Sylvia, so it's really cool that that was just in February, and now here we are in September, and the guy has my phone number. That's pretty awesome. So I just wanted to say that. But so I kind of created the slideshow. So licensing manager, do you need one? I wanted to go over our numbers like Mark was saying. So from February 2021 to September 2021, just a year ago, I was not involved in the business. Erin was kind of running everything on her own, and I honestly have no idea how she was spinning all those plates, because it's a lot. But in that time frame, we had 17 new life licenses and 0 securities licenses. Like I said, these numbers aren't crazy, like impressive by any means, but it's kind of paints a picture for you and shows you kind of the new standard that we're trying to create in our organization. So it's February 2022 to September 2022, we're sitting at 39 new life licenses, and we have a few more in the hopper. And just for, I keep a little sheet here of all my things. I kind of do it old school, but I keep a list of all my people here, and of who's still sitting at with the license or the regional licensing centers, working to get completely through the process, which that's a struggle at the moment, like Mark said. But the licensing center, that's another thing I wanted to hit on with the licensing center is make sure you're constantly contacting them, because they drop the ball left and right, and that's not they're super under staffed at the moment. So that's a huge thing to constantly get on their butts and trying to get them moving on your licenses. But let's see. So three new securities licenses, and that's just, I'm saying February through September. Now I wanted to say this too. We actually only had one securities license outside since we started in 2012. We actually have only had one securities license person between then and now. And since February, we now have three new live securities licenses, or 3 new securities licenses. That kind of shows you the trend we're trying to set. And so securities test passer since April. So yeah, we have three new fully licensed people, but we're starting a trend on getting people securities licenses. We have 6 people that have passed their SIE, 4 their Series 6, and 3 their 63, and 3 their Series 26. We actually have a guy today that's going to take his SIE, so that should be, he's doing really awesome on the study program and everything. So that should be 7, and then we have 4 or 5 more people that are studying for the SIE. So you can kind of see the trend has started for securities licenses. Let's see. So income, like I said, this is also not crazy impressive, but it shows you exactly kind of where we're headed. When I came in February, we were sitting at 85,000. We hadn't even gotten the rain yet. And then September, right now we're sitting at 147,504, and we've actually just promoted our first RVP 4 days ago. So that's super, super, super excited. We're crazy excited about that. We have another one that's got a few things that needs to get figured out, and just a couple pieces to put in place, and we're gonna have another RVP here coming out pretty quick. She did it right too, so our RVP, the one we just promoted, they left us a $20,000 leg. They took a $20,000 leg, so we're doing it right. So that was super impressive. But our process is super, super simple, right? So Aaron, or whoever, anybody on our team, they do an IBA, and we have three coaches on our team that'll run orientations. So we do 3 orientations a week. A different coach runs each one, but that gives that new person that gets an IBA the opportunity to get into an orientation with 24 to 48 hours. And what I'm doing as a licensing manager is I'll get on that orientation, because they're always the same time. I'll get on there, I'll introduce myself, hey, Mike, I'm Mike, I'm the licensing manager. I'll be getting with you within the next 24 hours. Super simple, doesn't take much effort on my part, but I get on that orientation, and I just write them down on a piece of paper. I get a list of everybody that was on that orientation, and then I run over and I use the tool, the licensing manager tool. If you're not using the licensing manager tool, I would highly recommend it. There's some things I definitely don't like about it. There's some things about it that I definitely don't use, but for the things that I use on it, it's super, super helpful. That list of people that I get, all I got to do is I take that written piece of paper, come over here to the licensing specialist report, and let's say I click on David Harris's name, boom. I have his phone number. I can text message him. I can email him all right there from my phone. And that's where I set up that slideshow thing that Mark was talking about. Slideshows, some videos. If you follow those things, the scheduling, the test part, it's going to be a little bit different state to state. And I was kind of looking at like Arizona's where Mark is at, and it wouldn't work specifically for his state, but for the states that we are really heavy in, which is Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, it works perfect. So I would rather, and you can make your own. So you can take those slideshows and use them for however you need to use them and make your own. But if you can take a majority of those people out, and automate that, that's amazing, right?
Mike,
so you're not having to do, because. Huh?
Hey, Mike, real quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to know, when you said Arizona, it doesn't work well, what is the disconnect? What is it that Arizona is not able to do?
So I was just looking at and I didn't put a ton of time into this, so I could be a little bit wrong on this, but as far as I was looking at how you guys schedule your test, it doesn't exactly meet up with how we schedule our tests here in Kansas. Now the pre-licensing, if you do, so we're doing, that's one thing I should have said earlier. We're doing everything internet based, right? We're doing everything online. So when we're doing pre-licensing, that pre-licensing slideshow will work perfect for you 100% of the time. It's universal for every state. Now, certain states have different requirements, but if you use the UConPass system, it's going to cover all the bases. If you do all the, like Georgia, they require 20 hours of pre-licensing, where Missouri only requires, they don't even really require pre-licensing. You can use Pass Now in Missouri and it would qualify, but we don't want to confuse people. So we're doing everybody the exact same. If you use the UConPass system, you will qualify for pre-licensing completion. Now the scheduling, the test slide that I sent you, it looks like Arizona doesn't use the exact same system. But like I was saying, if you have some outliers like that, because before we were doing this, I was personally getting with every single recruit we had, and I was doing a one-on-one Zoom with them and holding their hand through the whole process, which is great. I feel like everybody needs their hand held through this process. But if you follow these slides to a T, that's basically, automatic hand holding. And I would rather, have them have that process in front of them so they can refer back to it if they need to. Now, if somebody comes, like we have a guy from Kentucky right now where the scheduling the test process didn't work for him, but the pre-licensing did. So he's done with pre-licensing. He just needs somebody to hold his hand and get on a Zoom with him or walk him through it. And I would rather do that one person, 4 or 5 in a month than the whole, like a month like July where we had 70 something recruits. Like I cannot do 70 something Zooms in a month to help every single person get through pre-licensing and get their test scheduled. So if that produces 4 or 5 or 6 people that I need to personally handhold through that, I'll walk through that with them. I'll learn that state with them, and we'll do it that way. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
All right. So like I said, I sent out these are the slideshows that I sent to Mark. And I hope he shares them with you. I hope, and that's another thing. If you have anybody else you want to share them with, I encourage sharing it. Like I really can't stand when people won't share things with me. Like it bugs me. We actually, I was on a call the other day and I was sharing some securities license information, some securities test information, which I'll share with you guys at the end here, a class that we're using. And somebody brought up, you probably shouldn't be sharing that stuff. We've been using this person for years, and they're kind of telling me I shouldn't be sharing it the way I was sharing it. And the only thing that kind of went through my mind was I thought about Dumb and Dumber, where their guy was like, "You've had gloves this entire time." That's all I cared about. That's all I seen was like, you've had this for how long and you haven't shared it? Like I didn't hear the part of you shouldn't be doing this. So if you guys can share this, I would, if it can help anybody, I very much think you should share it with people. But if you're doing things the online way, and this is just a little screenshot from there, if you're doing things through UConn, you can see exactly where they sit, right? So right here it's showing online 9 hours and 53 minutes. So I can see, this person needs to get 4 hours online to complete pre-licensing. I can see right now this guy's already passed that part. I can see now that he took his end of course exam, this guy's ready to test. So I go through there every day and I monitor what everybody's doing. I just make sure everybody's on pace. If somebody hasn't studied in 2 or 3 days, I shoot them a text message, which I just grab right there on that same page. I have their phone number right there. I shoot them a text message, say, "Hey, how's studying going?" If they say, "Oh, I'm studying right now," and I can clearly see or not, I'm just going to say, I'm just going to, boost you up a little bit. Say, "Man, you got this. You're going to pass this. You're going to knock this out. We're going to get you making money here super quick." Right. And then you'll see that they'll most likely start studying again that day. And when they're ready to test, you can come in here and you can actually enter the test date if you want. I don't necessarily use that every time because I'm in constant contact with our people. So I know when they're going to take their test, but if they want to, they can go in there and they can enter their date. You can kind of keep track of that as well. I also did some videos that literally just go exactly through the process of what's in these slideshows. The videos need a little bit of professionalism put to them. It was kind of this whole process was honestly put together in one evening. It was just going through the process, screenshotting everything one step at a time, and then making a video so that people weren't super confused. And then once the people do pass their test, I wanted to touch on uploading documents because this has been a struggle for us, and we feel like we've got it down now. But if you are using the app and you're using the online system like we're using, and you're having your team go in there and upload their own documents, I would highly suggest you stop having them upload the documents, because we've had a lot of problems where somebody fills out an application, they miss a section, they don't sign a section, they just don't complete a certain section of it, and they submit it, and then it sits there at the RLC for 3 or 4 days, and it'll just say pending RLC, and you don't really know what's going on with it. You call them and they're like, "Yeah, we saw that. They needed to sign this," but they don't tell you. Now, sometimes they'll put a note in there, but they don't always give you the information you need to know to push that license through. So what I would recommend and what we're doing is I've created I didn't put it in the slideshow, but I can share it with Mark and he can share it with you guys if that's what you want. But I just put together a generic email from my Primerica email. And I go through and tell them exactly what they need to have. And as far as like everything that's on this list, I put it in there and I just have them email it to me. That way, when somebody sends me their application, I can review it, because if they upload it, you can't see what they've submitted. So I have them email it to me. I go through there, I look through I look through their application, I make sure everything's filled out the way it needs to be, and then I will email that to the RLC. On top of that, I'll take all those documents and I personally will come in here and I will put them in, and you can do this too. You can upload your people's documents. I will upload their documents for them. That way I know that everything was done right. I reviewed it first. And then that way the licensing center has two sets of emails or two sets of documents. And so they can never say like, we don't have anything, because that's been a big thing is they say, yeah, we got this, this, and this, but we don't have this. And I'm like, well, it's in this exact same email. So that's just kind of one of the struggles we've had with the licensing centers. And I don't know if you guys are having those same problems, but it's been pretty almost every single time. So this eliminates that issue. And then let me see. And then the last and final thing is as soon as we get these people, as soon as somebody's license comes in and it is appointed, we are not waiting. So and this is what I was told by home office, that after 2 weeks, the people that get appointed, they will have access to their SIE. We don't wait those 2 weeks. As soon as their license is appointed, that's something I put on myself, is I will call and I will get them early access to SIE study material. Just because, like I said, we're trying to start as a team. We're trying to start the trend of if you want to become an RVP, you need to get securities license. We've added it to our promotion guidelines. You know, you want to be a division, you need your SIE passed. You want to move up, you need this next test passed. We've just kind of added it and set it as a standard in our organization. So this is what I was the license to build with Tammy, I think her name's Dufresne. I can't remember her last name, but her tests or her classes are amazing. Aaron, actually, we were promoted without a 26, quite a while ago, and Aaron, that was not fun. Not having the 26 was not fun, and Aaron really had really struggled. Aaron's a red personality. Aaron doesn't have the the mental capacity to sit there and study. She's thinking about a million other things and trying to move a million things at once. So the 26 was super hard for her. She failed it 4 times, and this study system, she studied on this for I think 10 days and went and passed her test. So I'm not saying it's a miracle worker. You still got to put in the work, but I'm telling you that this stuff really helped me with the 63. I don't know if I'm sure you guys have all taken 63. If you have, you know that the language in it is super confused. Like a person could be a pen, a person could be a soda can, a person, it's not just like a human being. So that really, I struggle with that, and I watched her videos and went through her class one time, and I was like, it clicked, everything was good. I went and I passed the test, and it was probably the easiest test out of all of them for me so far. So that is all I got for slideshows. Mark, was there anything else you wanted me to hit on here? I know I'm kind of rambling at the moment.
No, you're doing a great job. Charlie had a great question. Charlie, go ahead.
How are you doing? Excuse me. Oh, like, so how are you doing? We use I know you said you use UCAN-Pass. What's the reason you don't use Pass Now?
So okay, so this is how it was explained to me was we were using Pass Now, and most of our people were in Missouri, right? So Pass Now worked for Missouri because they didn't require the pre-licensing certificate, I guess is what they would call it. When we started recruiting a lot of people in Tennessee, we just used the same system, right? We're like, all right, you're going to go to Pass Now and do this, and they weren't recognizing Pass Now as qualified pre-licensing. The only thing that they would recognize was UCAN-Pass if on the online side. So we we had everybody do Pass Now, and then they went and they take their test. They pay for them tests themselves, and they would go pass their test, and then we would go to get their license, and they would be like, they haven't completed pre-licensing. I'd send them all these documents, like, no, they have, and they're like, no, that doesn't count. So that is why we've switched to UCAN-Pass, because every state that we've dealt with so far anyway has recognized UCAN-Pass as pre-licensing. Now, like I said, people in Missouri could use Pass Now, but just to keep it uniform and so everybody's doing the same thing and there's no confusion, we've just switched everything over to UCAN-Pass.
Gotcha. Great point. Great point. Nubia had a question real quick here.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
With the licensing coach, like how many times that you guys are meeting with them, or like once they're schedule their class? Like, what's the process? Like, somebody gets scheduled the class, I mean, to meet with you guys or something. So what's the process there?
Yeah, so like I said, on the orientation is that's the point of contact I'm getting with them is they'll go through orientation, then I'm just meeting with I'm not necessarily meeting with them on Zooms unless their state requires that, but I'm sending them text messages and I'm in constant contact with them on text messaging, right? So that's pretty much all we're doing, but I'm constantly looking at that tracker to see did they get registered for pre-licensing. I'll know that because the timer will change, right? If they're not registered, it'll say not registered. If they've got into class and they've started studying, the timer will go up. It may only be 3 or 4 minutes, but I know at least know at that point they're in class. I'll send them a message and say, hey, good job getting on class. I'll be checking in with you in the next couple of days to see how your studying is going. And I will do that. I'll check it every day just to make sure the people that are registered for class are doing what they're supposed to do and they are studying. Now, I'm not gonna, if they haven't studied for a day or something, I'm not gonna be like, what are you doing? You need to start studying. I'm just gonna be like, hey, how's it going? And they'll tell me. But I do stay in contact with them quite a bit through the entire process until they have completed their test, and then even afterwards, getting their paperwork in, and then they're just plugged in. Once they've passed their test, they're plugged into our trainings, and I'm constantly in contact with them. Does that answer your question, or am I missing what you're asking?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
That's a good question. Mike, I have a question for you. So when you, let's say you recruit someone today, how quickly are you getting them to start studying? And then like through You Can Pass, because I kind of looked over, I haven't looked at You Can Pass in years, but I looked through it, and so it's got the chapters and then it's got a few videos, and then how do you organize their thoughts on how to study or the methodology, or do you just say read it, or do you say watch the videos, or how's that process?
So that's actually a really good question, and a really good thing about another reason why I really like You Can Pass is because You Can Pass doesn't like Pass Now. You can jump around and look at this, look at that. You Can Pass, you have to start on chapter 1. You cannot move on to chapter 2 until you have finished chapter 1, right? So it does the hard work for you of keeping people on track on You Can Pass, so that everything is just done in an order. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have them like reading all the material, or do you have them watching the videos, or?
I honestly, I tell them just to watch. I tell them to go through the chapter. There'll be some reading materials. You can read it if you want, but you're going to get a lot of the information you need from the videos. So it's mostly videos, because when we were using the Pass Now system, that's all we used was the videos. And is that what you guys use now, is Pass Now, and you haven't watched the videos?
Well, we are dinosaur age. We actually sent them to PFSU,
Right.
and yeah, which sucks. And so especially remotely, like these people are trying to sit in class for 29 hours or whatever it is, right? So your system, that's what I think I fell in love with, and the videos are for sure better than reading, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big thing and that's what I've told people too, is just go through, watch the videos. There's going to be some reading things. If there's things when you're taking your quizzes you're not understanding, you can go back and read about it if you need to, because you can go back through the chapter. But the videos pretty much do the job for us.
That's incredible. What other questions do you guys have? Oh, okay, we got a lot. Okay, Mike. Let's go. Irma, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I have a quick question. So I know for the field training bonus that You Can Pass system, is that eligible for Primerica?
So
4 hours? Okay. Okay.
well, that might be a question I might have for you guys as well, because we had somebody who went through the Pass Now system. They kind of went rogue and did their own thing, and they went through the Pass Now system, and their state didn't, and their state actually didn't need them to do You Can Pass. So I believe it was Texas, and they went through Pass Now, and their bonus was cut in half because they didn't complete pre-licensing. Are you guys having that issue?
Yes.
So
Pass on.
what you need to do in Arizona is you got to do 4 hours, complete all the tests, and pass the simulated test, which is basically, but you have to do 4 hours. If you don't do 4 hours,
Oh, You Can Pass.
you can pass. Pass now won't count. It has to either be the in-person, virtual, or online.
Right.
You can pass, and if you don't do it within 60 days, they'll cut your bonus in half.
Right. And so they did it within 60 days, but they did not use UConn which is another reason why I feel like UConn is a pretty uniform, why everybody should probably just switch to UConn because Pass Now is not, for us anyway, it cut their bonus in half because they completed it that way. They still got licensed, they still got half their bonus, but they weren't considered completed pre-licensing.
I do have a question in regards to that, and maybe this is for you, Julio. Like, is the 4-hour requirement, is that nationwide or is that only
It's not.
Arizona?
California's 32, 20 has to be in life and 12 in ethics. Arizona, most of them, if you go to the licensing tab, it'll tell you what the requirements are, but most are 4 hours, pass all tests.
Yeah,
But California have to be on, you have to be on
32 hours.
UConn for 32 hours?
Yeah, you feel too bad for them because they can take the test 10 times a year.
It's only 60%.
Yeah, I know
But
that.
But they have to do 32 hours. And here's the thing, if they do 32 in just life insurance
It doesn't work.
and they don't do the 12 hours in ethics, they have to still do another 12 hours in ethics.
Can they just leave the computer on and just walk in, you know?
If you can pass it very smart, if you're not on test or doing something that, like if you don't refresh within like 5 minutes, it kicks you out.
Okay.
It sends you you still on?
Yeah.
Like Netflix.
I will say this about Georgia. So we had a guy that did this in Georgia, and Georgia says that they require 20 hours. They got 4 hours on the quizzes, and then they passed their pre-license, or they passed their end of course exam, and that qualified them for 20 credit hours. They were only on the system for maybe 6 hours, but that qualified them for 20 hours. So it wasn't an actual 20 hours. They just needed 20 hours of pre-licensing credit, if that makes sense.
What made up, Mike? What made up the what made it go from 6 hours to 20? Was it because like each test they say is worth 4 hours or something like that?
I don't know exactly what the breakdown is. I mean, I kind of look at it as like credit hours, like in college. Like if you complete the course, you get your credit hours. So that's kind of how it was explained to me, was if they get their 4 hours and they pass their course exam, that's considered 20 hours of pre-licensing credit.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay.
Quick
June,
question.
go ahead, June. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. June had a question first, and then Raina.
Okay.
June.
Sorry, yes, I was just asking, Mike, would you be willing to share your phone number? So if we have any issues or questions later, we can call you?
Yeah, absolutely. And my phone number is actually in those slideshows that I sent Mark.
Oh, okay,
So if you have those slideshows, or Mark, if you want to send out those slideshows, or I can send them out to whoever.
perfect. I'll find it. Thank you so much.
What was the
so
question,
my
June?
question-
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
She was wanting she was just asking if I was willing to give out my phone number, and in that slideshow, the red slideshows I sent you, my phone number's in there as on the first slide.
Awesome.
And
Thank
you're more than welcome
Thank
to share that with anybody. Yep.
Raina, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is, because you mentioned that you start them off like studying since like IBA's in. Do you find it that like, do you still continue to work with them when it comes to like training appointments, or do you just like stop and study, test, and then continue with training?
So when I jumped in, I'm strictly just doing licensing stuff. So Aaron is the lead agent, and Aaron is still working with them. Yes, for sure. So that's kind of when we first started doing this, we were having everybody, we were doing orientation and licensing on the same day, in the same session, right? And that was overwhelming because Aaron throws a lot on them and in that orientation. So we found that they were like overload. So we let them go through orientation, and I usually wait 24 hours. So if they do it Tuesday at 8 o'clock at night, I'll usually wait till Wednesday, maybe 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. I'll send them the licensing information. And that's one of the great things about doing it online, is they can kind of do it on their pace. You definitely want to push a sense of urgency, and you definitely want to get them rolling. And like I said, that's why I keep on them, and I keep text messaging them just to ask them how it's going, because it kind of keeps them focused. But they have other things going on, and it's a lot of things being thrown at them at once. So Aaron kind of controls that side of building the business, getting a qualified list, calling the list, things like that. And I'm just over here, as a side part, just keeping them focused on licensing.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
That's awesome, Mike. I think Noel, you had or some.
My question was, hey, Mike, I'm Noel. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
The question that I have is this: what percentage of the people that are getting licensed are able to start doing the appointments on their own. Pretty much, I know the licensing process is fairly quick. I just want to know if you're still working with them after they get licensed quite a bit more,
So,
or
Aaron is working with them on setting appointments. Yes. So we definitely are trying, we push to get their license done within 7 to 10 days. Right. And we try to get that done quickly. And then yes, Aaron, we've kind of set up a system where Aaron's like a head coach and she has some other head coaches that go with them. And you're always taking a head coach on your appointment until she has a system. Basically, you have to test out with her to be able to go out on your own. You have to test out with her again to be able to be a certified field trainer. It's just kind of the system we put in place. So yeah, you're definitely going to be going out with a coach for a little while until you have tested out with one of the head coaches and have proven that you know exactly what you're doing,
perfect. And then Mike, last question follow for you. After you guys implemented this licensing system, which is incredible, thank you for sharing. Has your retention increased now that people are getting licensed up front throughout the
Yeah,
field
for
training?
sure. Yeah, so we're definitely, and I think it has a lot more to do with the culture that we're creating, where we're RVPs and we're trying to promote RVPs, and I think that that's a huge deal. Is that we're definitely pushing that, and like I said, we just pushed out our first one, which it's kind of going to work just like when we did securities license. We got one person securities license, we celebrated the heck out of them. The next person, we celebrated the heck out of them. We're just creating the culture. And so yeah, I mean, the retention is high because we are getting a lot more like belief in our business. People really want to be involved in a team that's winning, right? And so I think that if you get licensed and you're in this environment and we're constantly, trying to help you get to that next level, then yeah, I think the retention is high. But I think it's not just because of the licenses. It has a lot more to do with the environment we're trying to create.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was awesome. All right, Ceci.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
My question was when you're scheduling the test, because you send them the video, right, of where to go.
Yep.
How many people actually schedule it on their own, and how many, like, do you have to be kind of, because they have to pay for it up front, so it's like another payment, that they have to do. So how is that for you, your process on that?
So we don't actually really, because there is a way that the company, I think it's one state, and I believe it was Arkansas, I think it was, that they won't pay for the test. I think it was Arkansas, but there is a way, that the company will pay for their test, but it's a process. Like they have to do pre-licensing on UCAN-Pass, and they also have to go to Pass Now and pass that exam. And then if they pass that exam, then they have to go pass the guarantee exam. If they fail that exam, they have to go take a focused exam and then the guaranteed exam, and then the company will pay for it. And then you're scheduling it when they can schedule it. So we definitely push the you pay for your own test and you'll get reimbursed for it. But there are times where people, they can't, or they'd rather the company pay for it. But we usually don't tell anybody unless they come to us and say like, hey, I really want to take this test, but I don't have the money or whatever. Then we'll be like, look, there's this other system you can use. We can get that taken care of. It's going to take a little longer, but for the most part, most people are willing to do whatever, and we'll Aaron's got some really good ways of telling people like, well, what if I told you there was your favorite car was sitting out here and I'll sell it to you for $69, you'd go find that $69, so this is going to get you freedom. So she has her ways of kind of telling people, you need to come up with the money, you need to get this test taken care of. But percentage wise, I would say about 80% are willing and able and do whatever they can do to get their test paid for. Now they're in the other people, we just deal with them however we have to deal with them, and it's a lot of one-on-one with them and just telling them why they why they need this and why they should do it and help them come up with ways to get out there and get the money to pay for their test.
Okay, thank you.
Did that answer your question? I don't know. I kind of.
Oh yeah, I did. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions you guys have? Nope. All right.
Yeah, Charlie has one real quick.
So I'm assuming UCAN-Pass is taking, because we send people to class, so that's going to take over.
Yeah.
UCAN-Pass takes over that, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be, it's the same. It's completed pre-licensing. That's all you really care about is getting them pre-licensing completed, and UConn will do that.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike, this was absolutely incredible. I just want to say thank you so much. It's exciting. Like when we were in what was it, Colorado, I think it was, when we got to really get to know you guys, and it was so much fun, and the whole hierarchy is ready, Eugene and all of them. It's exciting to see the hierarchy ready to snap back, where we rightfully should be at the top.
Exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're going to be coming in on Thursday. So we would love to hang out. We're going to take the hierarchy to some barbecue on Thursday night. So if you and your team or something like that want to come with us, we would love to cross mingle and just kind of get to know you guys better.
Yeah, for sure. So we got quite a few people flying in on Thursday. I don't know exactly what our schedule looks like, but and I know we're kind of helping Shane with some setup stuff. But yeah, definitely. I got your phone number. You can text me, let me kind of know what your plan is, and we'll see what we can come up with. I think that would be awesome. We'd love that for sure.
Hey, you guys are awesome, man. Listen, don't want to take a lot of your time today, but have fun today, and then we'll see you in a few days. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Give him a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Guys. All right. Take care, Mike. All right. So that was powerful. Holy cow. All right. Any comments? Yeah, Ceci.
Yeah, last month I think it was like Julio and I sat down and we were talking about licensing, and I told him because we had the issue where, well, a lot of like Tucson or Douglas people, there's no classes there. It's in Phoenix or Zoom. It's just not like their schedule, so
Yeah.
nobody was completing class. And I told him, I was like, then we need to put them on online, right? Like pre-licensing online by themselves. But we were talking about like we need to create a system. So we were like, we just did one last like almost Friday that we did it. Yeah, Friday I met with the new people and I went over basically what he went over. I used his slides, but that's what I was planning on doing. It was not very well promoted, so we only had 4 people, but we were scheduling 2 tests from that. And but I was telling him, I was like, if we do this, we don't know if we're gonna do it because he does it to everybody, like, right? He sends the video.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking if we do it either once a week or every 2 weeks, because same thing, like we don't want to come in, like get out the field and start focusing on studying, but kind of have a
What's
a
a healthy
class.
balance?
Yeah, like what
I
do you,
guess is what the question would be. What do you think the balance would be?
I think
Day one licensing or like
That's a good question, and because there's strengths to both, but I do feel like you need to get them in the field. They've got to get in the field because the second that you get them focused on studying, then the field is done, and now the only people you will ever get in the field are the people that pass the exam, if that makes sense, because people are linear thinkers, we all are, we're one track mind. So to do 2 things is very difficult because they're balancing their kids, their job, their this, their that. So in Primerica, it's only going to be linear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say give it at least a week or 2, but yeah, Irma.
Oh, I just have a comment. We've had this, not, I mean, we have our own system, but like we've sent people straight to class. Like we've made that mistake and we made, they've done their training, their 3x3 minimum or at least more, but sending them to class and everything. But what we found out, or their feedback from the people that went to field training, when they go to class, it just makes sense. Everything it clicks. They're like, oh, I remember that on this appointment, and then the people that didn't go to class, they have a hard time understanding everything.
I mean, if they would have sent me to class right away, I'm not saying I necessarily would have quit. I don't know, but at least it wouldn't have been the flavor that I was. It would have been eating, broccoli ice cream kind of thing, Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like we made that switch studio that you told us about. Make sure they sign up for class right away when they hire on. So what I'm thinking is if we're not going to send people to class and we're going to use this UConn Pass, like I'm thinking for us, because usually I send people to class and then I meet with them that same night or the next morning and I do a Zoom or in person and I do a whole study plan with them and I schedule their test right then and there. Like it has to, because if not, there's no deadline. Now they're not studying right. So what I'm thinking is, like especially for Mona and I is is we'll hold You Can Pass class at our office. You know, Diana's gonna be our licensing manager, and she can be there, you know, and kind of helping them go through the. Because how many hours do you have to go through You Can Pass?
Four.
It would fit
4 hours.
but you need to complete every chapter though.
Okay.
So that's the reason.
So I'm thinking, so she can be there, do that with them, because we're giving her a bonus if she gets people licensed.
Yeah.
And so like it's only $50, but
Yeah.
you know, it's something. And so I'm thinking that'll be a great way. And then obviously people that are out of state, they're just gonna jump on it. But I think scheduling and having that deadline is very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I was telling you on Thursday, I think at least that we're talking that that You Can Pass is if someone's actually doing it, they actually really put in the effort. That the fact that they can't move on to the next chapter, it's such a big thing because like I was telling you, Leah was doing pre-licenses because she was trying to get points for her Bahamas and all that.
Yeah.
And there was a girl, and she's like, "Hey, just get on and do the 4 hours. Try to pass the quizzes. You know, if you can get one of them done, you'd be, you know, awesome. But I'm gonna help you get credit for this so you can get your bonus." And then she's like, "Okay." So the girl did the 4 hours and passed 3 quizzes. So I thought to myself, I was like, "Damn, if somebody actually put the effort." Because this girl was just like doing the hours and just trying to like get to the next chapter, and she got to 3, and the first 3 are like almost 40-50% of your test. And so in my head, I'm like, what if people actually sat through 6? Because when you sit through a class 16 hours, you know, 4 hours in, you're like, oh, when's it gonna be over? You know, because you're just hearing another human being talk. You're not getting any engagement. You're not really engaged. So I think this system could definitely, if like what Charlie's thinking, I think that's an awesome thing because that's what the Baragons do. Is they do You Can Pass, and they have to do 32 hours over there. So what they do is they have all their people that are studying come to their office, and they do the 32 hours together. You know, so it's almost like all right, let's go ahead and get these 32 hours in, guys, and they lock them in a room or whatever, and then they just kind of, you know, keep them accountable. Now, when you're building in different states, it's the accountability that's gonna be what he does.
We'll just do the same. We just have a webcam, you know, and have Diana can do it when we want.
Yeah. But I mean, it works. The accountability part is the most important part.
That is because Julio and I were talking about this, and you know, about his class was so powerful. You know, it worked really well. And Julio was saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were kind of saying like the reason why it worked well was because there was accountability. Like people, like they were put on blast, you know, and not in a bad way, but you know, they were just held accountable. And so yeah, it is the licensing coach that is very important. Yeah.
And so in Julio, I was like, the vibe that I got with the people, because we had already registered these 2 girls that I'm gonna schedule their test to a class, but it's like so far out because of the, you know, there's no classes. And so when I was going over this, 4 hours seemed so doable that both of their attitudes were like, okay, I can get it done like tomorrow, you know, and then I explained the test. I said, now for the test, like I pushed it as far as like availability. We want to schedule it up front. So they were both like, okay, yeah, let's schedule it, you know? So I pushed it that way. So we're scheduling it today. And then, but it was just like it seemed so doable to them that it didn't seem like, oh, I have to go to the 16-hour in-person class. Like I work, I have kids, when am I, you know, and because that was happening, we would schedule them and they didn't make it, so now the next one's in a month and then nobody's doing class, you know, like
funny because you can just tell you got a choice. You can go live for 16 hours, 32 hours, whatever it is, or 4 hours from home, you know, like, and it changes their
like,
paradigm of
right now.
because if you tell them you have to do it for 4 hours and that's the only option you give them, now they go, oh my God, 4 hours, that's so long. But when you compare it to 16, they're like excited.
And then how he words it, where he's like, you know, everyone gets it done in 7 days.
Yeah.
It has this like mental thing of like, okay, I'm gonna get it done this weekend instead of like
Exactly.
never.
Right. Charlie?
I don't know. I'm just really excited about it now because we always had the problem of people couldn't attend just the weekend or the 4th, you know. We can just gear it around Saturday training or Tuesday, you know, and they're already showing up anyways.
Right.
You know, so
that's
no
in your
excuses
case.
no more.
That's
no
what I would
excuses
do.
no
Do it
more.
on Saturday morning, every Saturday, and just knock it out.
And you have that little corner.
Yeah, that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's perfect for you guys. You know.
We
All right.
already have people going in person in our bank base.
Say it again.
Like everybody's doing it on Zoom in our base, right? Was.
In PFSU? No, they do it all live. Most of them are live. Like I always schedule them live, and
So, like,
that's
used to that.
yeah, and exactly. So
The problem with live is that if they miss one session,
Oh.
which is so often, like,
Yeah.
or they
And
they
it's
have an
late.
asshole. Even if their instructor's like, "Oh, you were 30 minutes late. You're not gonna get credit. You're gonna have to redo it," and then they still stay there, and then now you have to reschedule them for that one session. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I have a question. Okay, for you can pass. Now I did log in, and Carla helped me kind of create an account or whatever. But I kind of looked through it. I didn't look through it too deep. But how is it structured? Like, so you go to chapter 1, and then it's got like the whole chapter that you can read.
It has videos.
Oh.
And it has
videos in
clicking
between.
videos.
Okay, so but
Videos in between each
1 minute
each
videos.
subsection.
So will the videos, if I just decided I only want to watch the videos and I'm not going to read anything,
No.
No.
If you're
You
if
can't
you're
do that?
if you're sharp and you're good at taking tests, sure. But the majority of people are gonna
No,
have to read
This
through
is
the
what's
chapter.
awesome
Okay.
about how you can pass, because about 50% of our licenses are in you can pass. Because other states, we don't know where people live when we recruit them. So if like we found out that Ohio, Missouri, they don't have the Zoom classes. All they have is in person.
Yeah.
But sometimes that in person is an hour away from where they live.
right, yeah.
So all we've done is you can pass in some other states. And what I tell them to do is just read it as much best as you can, but then watch the videos after each subsection. And at the end, they usually pass their chapter quiz by the second or third try. And then they're getting through the chapters and through the whole you can pass in about 2 days.
That's awesome.
And obviously because they're studying and they're reading, then after they get to the by the time they get to the practice 2-hour exam, they've done like 10 hours worth of study.
Yeah.
So they
What
like
states
it's-
that? Where are the states that don't allow you
far,
to pass?
for us, that don't allow you can pass. No, every state allows you can pass.
Well,
Yeah.
because you say that's now.
That's the
Pass,
That's now on the POL.
pass now is POL. It's because pass now is a carbon copy of you can pass, but you don't have to register. You just gotta click and go. And I think Primerica copied the system because every single time we register and you can pass, Primerica has to pay for that. Pass now is free.
Well, they're both made by ExamFX. The only difference is Pass Now is studying.
Yeah.
For people that have gone to class, this is where you study. You can pass this actual course.
The class.
Yeah. So
Like you said, that
they both are identical though. Like if you take the practice test on one and the other, it's like
Because the pass now is only designed to take the practice test and the focus and the guarantee to have Primerica pay
Yeah.
for your.
You know, he was saying that he had a recruit that came in and went rogue, and he went all crazy, and he went on Pass
Pass Now.
Now instead of going on You Can Pass. So the recruit screwed up and did Pass Now, and that's why his bonus was cut in half.
Right.
And all that. But if he would have done You Can Pass the correct
He
way, he would have been fine.
You never
Yeah.
completed class.
Yeah.
After people do the 2-hour, then I send them to pass now, or you can pass too, and now they can watch the extended videos. And there's videos on annuities, on policy options, riders that are 10-15 minutes long with an actual live instructor.
We can download
Not live
them now.
instructor, but I'm sorry.
You can download them now and just show them.
Yeah, they can do that.
Thumb
too.
drive.
So then after they watch those videos, they usually get an 80% or better on the 12.
Well, yeah.
So the two, just real quick on You Can Pass, it has a 2-hour practice exam at the end, and then does it have the
Guaranteed.
focused and the
Yeah.
guarantee and all that? Okay, all right.
and it also triggers like if you pass with a green light or whatever.
Okay, it does
The
that.
thing with
Pass now.
yeah, the thing that You Can Pass does is like to pass it, you only need a 70. You don't need a 75. Like in Pass Now, you need a 75 to pass the practice test.
Okay.
If You Can Pass, it's just you get a 70 and pass all the quizzes, you got credit for your class. So now, and if people are scoring 70s, they are more likely to go and pass this test, because you can't get through the course if you're not scoring at least a 70.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And in Pass Now, when they're just, jumping through the sections, that's what he was talking about. People just jump through the chapters.
Oh, okay.
And this one you can't. It goes chapter 1, chapter 2. You even have to do the chapters you don't want to do, which is chapters 6 and 7. Or,
Sure.
those chapters are the worst ones, the ones that I never study when I study. You have to pass those too. So it almost helps you in a way, because if you get 3 out of 5 in those chapters, it'll increase your chances of passing.
Right. Okay. Cool. That's awesome. All right. Cool.
Except Eleni on that.
Oh, who has a question?
So you have to pass.
Janine,
So-
go ahead, Janine.
No,
So you can pass
But
will
you-
will force you to do the state requirements in your state, whatever they are.
okay,
So
Go ahead, Janine.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna make a statement just so everybody can kind of clarify, you know, because I did have 26 people. I had 26 licenses, but I had over 30. Okay, because I only get half credit for Kenya. Kenya had about 12 people. So we had a lot of licensed people within the first like 6 months. And so this system is actually a system that I taught Aaron. So you all, it's what the reason why you can pass is good, because you remember, Mark, I was telling you I do a boot camp. So y'all, to make it kind of simple, using that system is great, but you still want to be in control. That's what my boot camp is. So you gotta set an environment where you are in control of how those people are studying. Okay. So when they go to class, PFS class, Pass Now is solely for them, because we know though that they class is a crash course. They do not retain, because they don't get tested from one section to the next. They only get credit because the teacher said they showed up. The teacher don't judge their attention. The teacher don't judge anything. The teacher can only say they were physically there. So Pass Now is in place for those people, because most of them don't get what they need to know to pass. They just got, hey, they was here within the 60 days. They get full bonus. They completed class. But now we got to trust them to go through Pass Now. That's why it's not a class count, because the teacher said they showed up. So now this is a system. We got to make sure that they pass. Now, when you in control of it and you have them to do the Pass Now, which that's why I have a boot camp. Because now all my people come through a Pass Now, which of course I lost my licensing specialist, everybody. So I'm just now getting it back up, because I'm trying to get people in place for it. But I had a boot camp this weekend. So over the boot camp, it was a 2-day boot camp. Everybody come in, we teach them how to test, and we put them on a Pass Now system. Because if they're in different places, they're not studying the same. So somebody on Pass Now, somebody is, how do we make it simple? Put them on Pass Now. What makes Pass Now great, and when people go through Pass Now, they cannot go from one section without mastering one section. So when people go through Pass Now, they test faster, because Pass Now tests their knowledge to see if you can go on to the next. So it's something that's testing to make sure they're grasping it, because you can't go to the next one without it. So what you need to do as running that, you need to have someone like the RVP or someone mastering when they're going through a boot camp type of thing, and then set up a Telegram. Because now what I did yesterday, I didn't spend a weekend. I'm doing a boot camp every week. And what the boot camp is just an hour and a half, one day. We going through the system, everybody logged in, teaching them about this. And then on Telegram, it's a checkpoint every day. So I have an agenda. I'm pointing on day 1. This is what you should have mastered. Have you mastered section 1? Post your results, having them to be interactive. We get back together on Wednesday for a quick Zoom. And by Wednesday, they know they should have mastered 4 sections. The test is scheduled on day 1. By Wednesday, you are mastered. We're doing receipts every day to encourage them. And then on the next Sunday when they meet, a person who passed from the previous week gets on there, like we do accountability. If you got, a champion, you say so. If a person master it, they get on and they encourage that person. But we just have to control the You Can Pass system to make sure that they're testing when they need to test, if you don't want to do it every week. Because I realize every once a month, every week, 2 days, that don't necessarily mean that they're going to complete the thing. So we just have to control that environment. But Pass Now is not Pass Now, You Can Pass is universal no matter what state they're in. And you're able to do that, because I had people from Michigan, Arkansas, all that stuff on yesterday. Everybody can move through the You Can Pass versus the Pass Now, and you can control them getting through that test. But after orientation, nobody can come to that unless they've been in the field 2 weeks. So in orientation, you have to set the tone. We do a prerequisite, meaning we do these appointments, and on week 2, we're gonna meet and I'm gonna get you into boot camp. So they have an expectation of going to class, but they also got an expectation that you do a prerequisite of field training first, because you want to get them to enjoy the field first, but get them in class within 2 weeks, and you control the class environment. And
Well,
that
I
kind of
think
makes it simple.
that's great, Janine, because we used to have, I mean, we still kind of do have like you said, a prerequisite of doing, 10 appointments or whatever before we send them to PFSU. And now we can have the same, whatever standard you want to set in your base. But what I would do is do a certain number of appointments, because, like 2 weeks is good, but then in 2 weeks they could do one appointment, or in 2 days they could do 10. It's kind of like whatever.
No, it's
So
a number. It's a number
Oh.
that they have to have completed in 2 weeks. So I
Oh,
tell
okay.
them field training is not a length of time, it's an amount of appointments. So to
Very
say that you are
right.
fully trained, we have to see 25 people.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
good.
control how fast, how slow, but you do not go to class if you haven't done half of 25.
Oh, I love
And
it.
so, yeah, and then we set a date to meet to get them in boot camp. So they have an expectation of the date that they can go to class.
I
But you
think
got to do this first.
That's really good, Janine. That's
And
really
then you
awesome. Thank
control
you.
both of them.
I appreciate you bringing it up. And you're coming to lunch with us or dinner on Thursday, right?
Well, I supposed to meet with John Foppy, my life license, field, whatever you I can't think of the name of him.
Director.
Yes, but he just texted me and said he wasn't for sure if he's coming in on Thursday or not. So I'll know here in a little bit because he got a sick child.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, we'd love to have you guys, all of you guys, on Thursday. It'll be a lot of fun. Any other questions, comments, concerns, anything like that? Yeah, Ryan?
Just a quick one. So,
Yeah.
Well, so one, I don't know if you guys saw this, but home office just put a discount code for someone that's already licensed. So you can go and just type, I think it's life license, and it waives all the fees up for them already, which is nice.
And they only pay 25 or something like that.
And so they like the check and then all that sort of stuff.
good.
So one of the things I was curious about when I know that when COVID walked on the scene, the home office had announced that their licensing ratio from the people that were going to class to the people that were doing it online dropped in half. Right? Do you think that is like because people
What dropped in half? What
the
ratio?
licensing ratio?
No, I know, but
Going in person, then going in Zoom.
So the
which was better?
Less than Zoom, less on.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so the people that were going to class in person and then getting licensed had twice the licensing ratio.
absolutely.
So do you think that's just because they were sitting there for 16
No,
months
I'll tell you
before
what. This is where you can manipulate statistics.
Yep.
Okay, it's easy. Remember, always be careful of numbers and stats because it's very easily manipulated. So this is a manipulation rate. I'm not saying the home office is doing anything bad. It's probably some number geek that looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's exactly," but they don't think. Okay, like an entrepreneur. So what is if you recruit 10 people? How many of those are actually going to sit through 16 hours, 32 hours, whatever, in a PFSU structured class where they have to drive to out of 10? How many will complete? Like 8 will complete? I wish. Huh? No.
4 or 5.
If you're lucky, 2, maybe. Like if you get 10 IBAs, how many of those 10 IBAs will actually complete class? No. How many? No, 2, 3, maybe if you're lucky.
2, maybe 5, 4.
Okay, so let's just say a number of 2 or 3. Okay, now out of those 10 recruits, how many can you get to complete 4 hours? Way more. Now, are the ratios pass to pass 1-to-1 ratios higher in person? Sure. If I can get a person to sit through 16 hours, will they pass versus someone doing it online for 4? Yes, there's going to be a higher ratio.
As a 3,
So
33% that pass if one of them passes.
right.
Right.
But if you get 6 or 7 to attend and get 4 hours, maybe only 20% pass, but that's still a higher number. So you're going to get way more license. That's why Janine and Mike and all these guys, that's why they're, and we talked to our crew in Louisiana, the RVPs down there that we have in Colorado, and they're switching to the exact same system. And their licensing their recruiting has been going down, but their licensing is way up. And So, and I don't think those have a correlation at all. But my point is like, yeah, their system is awesome. Janine, thank you. I appreciate all the hard work you put in. So does that make sense? You know, so yeah, so it is much more difficult to get people to take 16 hours off to drive to a class. But cool. Anything else? Any other questions? Now, Tessa, is she okay?
She's in the hospital.
What?
Yeah, like a little bit of a stroke last night. So yeah, we don't know.
Why are you here?
I'm not a doctor.
No, but you get out of here.
I'll grip this morning and got it there and everything. So
Dude,
Yeah, you have a situation like that. Yeah.
Just let us know on the Telegram, like
Yeah.
RVP line. We all want to, you know, we're all going to be really, you know,
I'll
thinking about
post it. I've been texting.
it. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Noel. Yeah. Noel and Drew.
Lord, thank you this morning for the opportunity to wake up one more time. Lord, we're coming together united and we're praying specifically for Tessa. Lord, we have no idea what's going on with her, but you created her. You built her in your mind and your heart, and she's here today. She is going through a physical and health struggle, but that struggle is only a struggle to us, Lord, not a struggle to you. May you please, if it is your will, heal her. May you please give the wisdom to the medical team attending her to know exactly what's bothering her, and you please reset her medical and her health system to 100%, Lord. Amen.
Amen. I thank you, Noel. Yeah. Woo. All right. Where is she at?
Honor.
Honor Health. Where's that?
It's Rockville.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Proud of you. Can't wait to see you guys in Kansas City. Man, June, Sean, Jeremy. Can't wait. Janine, it's going to be so much fun. God bless. Take care. Bye.